I gotta hit the go live button. All right, now we're gonna go. Good evening, good evening. What's up, everybody? As per usual, we're gonna get started here at 8:30. Gonna go take a look at the news. Putting this link in the Discord now. For those on other platforms, just signed up for Binance. I really can't speak on that, to be honest with you. I'm not really educated in there in that part of it. So, all right, getting ready for tomorrow. Yes, so we're gonna go over some top news here. We're gonna go over our economic calendar earnings. I'm gonna go over my watch list. And then we're gonna take you guys' chart request. So if you guys have any chart request and you guys are here on TikTok, hit the link in the bio, go to the YouTube channel, leave your request in the comment section, $, whatever it is, and you can remain on TikTok after that, but that way that I can read them in chronological order. So I appreciate that. So. Yes, so we do have earnings kicking off this week as well. So we're going to talk about that as well. I don't know what that means. Um, yeah, I'm live on YouTube right now. Your thoughts on XOM moving into the 90s soon? We'll take a look at that. All right, it is 2 minutes till 8:30, probably less than that. Waiting for everybody to pile in here really quickly. So. All right. Any thoughts on NVIDIA? We'll take a look at that here shortly. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and let's get to it. Quick reminder: make sure to do your taxes tomorrow if you haven't. Um, Tomorrow is the last day. In stocks, last week, guys, we had every major index fall. The Nasdaq Composite, which we're going to take a look at right here. Oops. Um, we saw this one down 47%. And if you take a look at the weekly, guys, it is indicative of that continuation, possibly to the downside here. We are at a major key level and have an idea of how that may play out this week. So, we also saw the Dow down 0.34%, the Russell down 0.20%. Have been showing some strength in adversity, as you guys have well seen. Top Shelf in our Discord has been roasting those. So, financials disappointed after kicking off their earnings week. We saw Bank of America, so on and so forth, falling and making new lows. And man, that reversal pattern right there sure does pay off, especially when you have a daily rising wedge. We talked about this ages ago, and it's pretty cool to see that actually play out. You got more than a 50% reversal there for sure. So, um, anyway, this week we did see the whole financial sector down 2% last week. Over the weekend, though, we saw Bitcoin and Ethereum fell 6% a piece. Algo stablecoin Bean was exploited for over 100 million. It completely lost this page 100% of its value. Rubber was this week's king commodity. We saw it rise 7.8%. And the NFT that Jack Dorsey's the NFT of Jack Dorsey's first tweet lost 99% of its value in a year. So sorry. Anyway, S&P was the only one I didn't go over, and that one was down 2.6%. You guys saw that engulfment candle there as well. Tax refunds up 9.9% for 2021. Client surprise. Of course, we have people complaining all over the internet about crypto taxes. Musk Twitter takeover continues. The board has continued, or the Twitter board has bounced an acquisition proposal by Elon Musk, introducing a poison pill to prevent him from acquiring more shares. We covered Musk's takeover and the headwind that I actually have a link if you guys want to take a look at that. It's on the daily rip. So, Europe continues to import Russian gas in spite of Ukraine invasion. Russian Gazprom reported that it still supplies natural gas to Europe, even in spite of political fallout in Ukraine. Excuse me. Um, I did my text and they still want me to go to jail. Make sure to leave a life. Make sure to leave a like here if you guys are on TikTok with me. I do appreciate it. Um, Alrighty. So economic calendar going into this week. Maine, we've got a decent amount, but really the headlines here. 419, we have housing starts building permits at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Um, oops. It's actually the right one right there. We have existing home sales on 420, existing that's at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and 421 initial claims and continuing claims at 8:30 Eastern time. Earnings, this is actually where we're gonna start really kicking off, guys. We've got Bank of America. Let's see here. Is that right? Yep. Okay. Bank of America, tough build. Some random ones. Charles Schwab is in there. That's kicking off Monday. There's 19 companies reporting today, but when we kick off earnings season, usually we'll have some of these bigger companies like Netflix, IBM, Johnson and Johnson, Lockheed and Martin. And although there's only 33 companies reporting, it is still the kickoff of for earnings season. Sorry. You've got Tesla on Wednesday, excuse me, Alacola as well. Alcola. I'm sorry, guys. I that's been a bad habit of mine. Snapchat on Thursday, FCX, AT&T, American Airlines. So we have a decent earnings week. And then next week, which is what I was referring to is where we really kick off, where we have 119 companies reporting on Tuesday, 288 companies reporting on Wednesday, 360 and 438 on Friday. Um, good time to see some possible volatility. And we've been talking about the potential for earnings season. Now, I'm curious because I do think that we are going to take another leg down, looking at the weekly, looking at the daily. But this also has that setup, and I think a lot of you probably already know what I'm going to say. It does have that inverse head and shoulders potential. But the point of control here, 435.80, is where we're going to need to cross below in order for that to happen. I think we'll see that Monday. But going into earnings season, I think that if this week we see that downside, then I believe we might see that curl back up. Kicking off next week. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Of course, we're going to play price action, watch these key levels, and read and react because that's how we make money. So anyway, that's about it for our news. Major ETFs, we're already taking a look here at SPY. So exactly what I just said. If you take a look at the daily, we did engulf. So that is a engulfment candle here, fully of the previous day's gains, back down to this lower time frames point of control, which is that 437 mark. But we do know that 435 is right below that. If you go to the 4 hour, it becomes a little bit clear. If you're ever charting, y'all, on the daily, and you think you see something, it is always really good to double check on the 4 hour, and that's what we're going to do here. So you can see that this is and has the potential for a double bottom due to how we finished. Now we know that we have an engulfment on the daily, and the fact of the matter is we may end up gapping down. I haven't even looked at futures yet today. Usually I have an alert. Yeah, so that looks like it's going to be true. Yeah, for sure. So more than likely, we will see a gap down. I imagine 435, 434.50 may be levels that we could see SPY gap down to, but that ultimately could lead us to gap fill. You guys know how I feel about gap downs. If we gap down, the initial move is usually to the upside, and that upside can obviously lead us. And so I'll likely tomorrow be playing those gap fills if we do hold that downside that we see right now. But what I see from SPY right now is a untouched resistance. So I do believe that we'll touch and retest that 446.50 mark before it's all said and done. But that may end up being whenever this, again, speculative, but potential inverse head and shoulders. If you don't see that inverse head and shoulders, there is and I like seeing them and obviously speculating because if you get a good entry with a good long, you can make some really good gains on this. So you see the shoulder here, that's terrible. Shoulder there, head there, and then of course we could drop down as low as here or even here and create that second shoulder. So don't count out further downside before, again, this is all said and done. So QQQ, again, pretty much the same exact setup. I imagine this one's also going to gap down. Watch that big wick that you see right here. That is a key level right there. Bam. So you can see a big wick right there, holding support there, resistance here. And so that is the 334.50 level for QQQ. So keep your eyes peeled for a bounce around there and a potential turnaround and gap fill to the upside. So um I think that usually, hey, what's up, everybody? Twitter is a scam, sell, sell, sell. Oh, it's you guys are in some there's some rough waters going on for Twitter. What's up? Good evening, everybody. As far as crypto is concerned, like using it as I'd rather just look at futures. Sometimes, yes, if I'm looking at crypto stocks, but no, not usually. So, yeah, I am live. If you guys are here on YouTube and you want to be able to interact with me or talk with me a little bit more, and me see your comments and not have them moving at the speed of light, guys, hit the link in the bio and join us on YouTube. Leave your comment there if you wish. Also, leave a like if you don't mind. Alrighty. So that's about it. I'm just gonna go over SPY and the Qs. Watch list for this week. Now, I badly want to watch everything. The way that it is right now, I'm kind of eager to. I don't know if anybody took any plays with me over the weekend, or if you held any of my signals or whatever the case may be. I do have a couple of downside plays going into this week. Um, let's see here. Yeah, still, of course, as you guys can imagine, I'm going to kick this one off. We've got Baba. So still short on Baba. I still have a $99 put, but it is a runner. But I will be watching this because JD and Baba, and I'll just go ahead and include that one in this because if you look at JD right here, this setup, and we've been talking about this for a minute, it's got to break. And I'm not exactly sure what's going to break it. But in my opinion, I do believe that we should see $55 at least on JD, which is also a major HMA on the daily as well. So, oh, not a problem. What am I drinking? This is Liquid Death. Tag them in my comments. Not, and I don't think they're not going to see the stream comments, but I get sponsored with it. It's from the Alps. All right. Anyway, so JD, this one's really simple, guys. And this is what I've been trying to like show you guys is we got to get those level breaks, right? Right here, you guys, and we are likely going to gap down, but you see that there's a really, really clean level here at $56.40, right? And then if you just zoom out, and I'll move this, you see the wick, these two wicks right there. They're at $56.26. So those are two levels that you watch for. You don't ignore those. If you see a 4 hour wick, you have to imagine how much money it takes to actually lift that stock up. Even if it's just a little bit, it's still worth noting that those wicks are going to be levels to watch. So anywhere below that 56.25, I think that we should drop if we haven't already with futures as they are. But $55 below $55. Now that's if we drop into 54.83 or 80, excuse me, 54.80. If we drop below 54.80, we're in the gap on JD. We've got a couple of levels like 54. We've got a couple of levels at 53. We will talk about those more tomorrow morning because it doesn't matter. What I believe Sunday is best used for is finding the higher time frame setup, finding those key levels, and then that way when you wake up in the morning, you know exactly where you are at and what levels where you could bounce, what levels to look for those bounces or rejections, etc. Um, yeah, thank you guys for joining me on YouTube. I see a lot of you guys piling in here, so I appreciate that. Um, Thank you, Delaware baseball. Thank you, Rolling Warrior. I appreciate that testimonial, by the way, in the Discord, man. That was pretty cool. Um, all right, we're gonna zoom through this, guys. Where did it go? Why is my page just turning by themselves? There it is. Okay. Microsoft. So Microsoft is on the watch list today or tomorrow, excuse me. This one, it's really, really simple, guys. It's just going to be a day trade. Now, I don't think it's going to be available for a day trade, but I was looking for 276.72. That is a key level across the board, including 275. If Microsoft gaps down to that level, I will play it to the upside for a gap fill, looking for a potential retest of obviously this level, but just a flat out retest of this support, which would be around 279. If it goes any higher and breaks above here, I would still regard this as resistance. You can see not just looking at a dynamic resistance, but also looking at a really nice key level right there. So I'd be looking for 285 on a recovery for Microsoft. AMD is also on the watch list. Um, this one's just in a channel. We got a fake out last week. This one has potential lower lows. I think 90.75 is a potential level. I do have a level marked here at $88.88, potentially if semiconductors continue to fall this week. And again, I will go over those in greater detail tomorrow morning. And last one, or not last one, SQ. So this one actually has a really cool setup. This one, I'm not sure if we're going to gap down with the overall market. We will see. But if it does, we'll watch it because it could, if it's right around here, around 115, it's going to be tough because it's kind of either or. But I do see zooming out, look at the 4 hour here, guys. You'll see a support level right here, right? And we've been hovering around 1, 2, 3 taps of 120, so that we're going for the fourth tap, which again, I do believe will gap down. If we're close enough and we lose that 115 mark, I want to play it down into the 111s, maybe even just 113. But this one again could make for a really good day trade, but also could make for a really good long trade once it hits support. So we're looking to make a little bit of money to the downside and then potentially flip that up and take it back up to resistance, maybe looking at 130. So, all right, last one, Twitter, because everybody wants Twitter. And of course, it is now plagued in controversy. Um, it did have a falling wedge, a smaller, lower time frame falling wedge right here. I think a couple of you guys took that trade. It ended up gapping up pretty well, but then filled its gap to the downside and more. If you go look at the daily here, This is not a great example, but it is a dark cloud cover. So, by definition, a dark cloud cover is a candlestick formation where you gap up, right? And then you fill that gap to the downside and then lose 50% or more of the previous day's gains, which is exactly what you see here, which is normally a reversal pattern. I think that just taking, and you know, I might be, this may be brash, and of course, I wouldn't put a ton of money into something that has a ton of news coming out, but I would likely just take the gap fill trade. So if it's a $40 put or a $39 put that has some time behind it, and then you day trade the breaks, like anywhere below 43.24, which is this daily 50-day EMA. But if you go look here, it's also this key level. And so right below that key level, we'd be looking for a drop down to 42.36, below 42, and it's likely not going to be a straight line. Nothing ever is, and especially with speculative buying, people with different opinions. But this, in my opinion, is just going to be a battleground for people to lose money potentially. So it's more or less on the watch list because everybody else is watching it, and I just want to keep an eye on it just in case it does give us definitive movement or if we do have news. But otherwise, I know everybody and their mother is going to be asking me about it, so I'm just preparing myself. And that's about it. All right, so I will go ahead and start from the top of the YouTube channel, and we'll go ahead and take your guys' request. Request. Nice nose plug there. Um, okay, so I'm remembering my analysis last time. And I wouldn't necessarily throw this out the window quite yet. So the bad thing is I'm short China. The bad thing is if DD moves, more than likely Chinese stocks are going to move, which they're due to do that anyway, especially with the price action that they've had. Lower time frame, you do see what could potentially be your downtrend here. So this is, and it has a good setup to kind of play it step by step, right? So this is 265 on the dot. That's your 4 hour, 20-day EMA, but also your downtrend, right? Whenever I'm using my EMAs, I'm looking for confluences with resistance, right? So I want them to run together. I want a higher time frame resistance to basically back me up in saying that, yeah, okay, this is likely where resistance is at. So that being said, I would like to see that 265 break from DD and then potentially looking, and then again, remember levels, right? You find levels by looking for levels of respect or balance levels, rejection levels. Usually, those happen a lot of the times at key levels, or excuse me, psychological numbers. But anyway, that's DD right there. I would be more interested here at what the short interest is. And if there's any catalyst that could drive DD up, or if you see it start trending, that may be where I would like kind of start looking at it because you're either in. So, just real quick, if I was to want to, because it does have an interesting setup, right? If I was to trade DD, right, I would either do it, I would do it two, maybe a few different ways, but one way that I would do it as a speculative trade is I'd likely buy a couple, maybe a couple hundred shares, right? And then I would likely utilize puts and I would be looking down at the gap, which is $2. Those are likely super duper cheap. I can pull those up right now. Um, and I would go out of the money and use that just in case. I may even go right outside of the money. So let's say I could do March 20th. So I think that's a fair bet as far as timeline is concerned. So I could use honestly, I could use a $2 put, or I could just go in the money with a 2.5 put, which is 47 bucks, right? Be a really, really good hedge. And then I could also double down on my upside by taking the same exact expiration and throwing out, let's say, a $3 call for 25 bucks. Um, there's low I actually there's actually the open interest on these is kind of crazy. The $5 strike on DD, the open interest on that is 23,000. So that's actually something I might throw that as a potential speculative penny trade, and maybe we'll set up something just like that and just see what happens. It doesn't mean it's going to happen because we set it up and it looks really cool. It could dump right in our faces and we can dump our shares, flip our position, whatever the case is. But it does have a pretty good setup. I like it. What's good, Potter? Uh, Nothing much, man. GLW, please. Oh, I read that wrong. Corning. Yeah. Drop that in the YouTube. Please, yeah, drop that in the YouTube if you don't mind. IMDb and Netflix. That'd be a good one to do. Drop that one in the Discord or in the YouTube channel. I have to get on with. I enjoy listening to you and your analysis. Nice. I appreciate that. I have to learn Swedish. You have to learn Swedish. Why don't you teach me how to learn Swedish? What are the best indicators for use of trading? I wouldn't say that there's any best. I would just say that there are certain indicators that fit certain trading styles. So there may be an indicator for you if you're looking at a long-term investment, if you're lead trading, or if you're day trading, maybe you obviously are going to have a set of indicators that adhere or help you with that. So, um, So one thing I need to remind you guys, set alerts, okay? One cool thing about TradingView, a lot of people take some time to figure this out. You can set alerts on anything. See this white trend line I drew? I'm going to clean it up, make sure it's touching wick to wick. Perfect. And I'm going to set an alert on it. So now I have an alert on that. Now I'm going to go click on the 20-day EMA. I'm going to add an alert on the 20-day EMA. So that way when the value crosses it, I'll get an alert. Those are two alerts that would also, right? So I have one more thing that I can do. Check out this alert. This is probably where you can make it so that you are setting yourself up for cascading alerts to let you know the severity of the situation, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. So we see right here on DD that it has absolutely abysmal volume, right? Which is sometimes a sign of things to potentially come. Not always, but sometimes. Um, that being said, you can go down to the hourly time frame, right? And you can go right click on the volume and you can change it to volume moving average. If you don't have that activated on your volume bar, it's worth doing. I added a little shaded area there so that way it's a cloud. So anyway, you set an alert there. So that way if the volume moves above average, you get an alert. Then I go to the 4 hour. Now this one, I don't like the distance between the moving average and the actual volume as it is. So I can actually, where I don't usually trade, I can go to the 2 hour time frame because at the end of the day, it's still a good, I can just set volume moving average crossing. And then that way, I'm kind of compensating for that distance that we see on the 4 hour. But still, same thing. Each one of these is going to be on a different time frame. So they're going to go off at different times. But there you go. So those are different indicators that I can add to this so that way I don't miss out on my trade. All right, enough of DB. BA. So BA actually, did they have news? Let's go look up BA. Well, I'll go ahead and read this out for you. So, looks like a lot of whales have taken a noticeably bullish stance on Boeing. If we consider the specifics of each trade, it is accurate to say that 59% of investors open trades with bullish expectations and 40% with bearish. From the overall trades, 11 are puts with a total amount of 553,517, and 11 calls for a total amount of $687,205. The price target right now is as high as $300, which of course can be years out. So that's they give you a price target for both the down and the upside. They have 135, which is not too far away, and then they have 300. So anyway, that's the numbers on it as far as what people are looking at. Now, the daily setup and the overall setup on Boeing is absolutely maddening. Now, it looks like because it doesn't want to go down and hit support, that it may actually, I'm I personally do not trade. What did I just do to my chart? Did I delete all indicators? That was terrifying. I thought I deleted everything. Um, Look at that. Look at that rising wedge right there with the beautiful 50% reversal. Um, anyway, 4 hour time frame. You've got what appears to be a cup and handle. Now, I don't really buy it quite yet, but the beautiful thing about this is you can set this level right here. That's 185.63. Once it crosses above 185.63, which is where you saw, and you can see the heavy amount of volume, right? Sometimes I show you guys that if we're breaking levels, this volume indicator here, this uh, volume profile, I don't know, VPVR is what I was trying to say. Um, it is really, really heavy above us. And you can see that immediately as you touch that level, you immediately get a rejection. Um, 180.50 is the bounce level below you. I'm imagining we're going to gap down tomorrow. That's also a larger or higher time frame HMA, which is a whole moving average. It's just a smoother moving average for those of you guys who are new. But the reason why I'm giving that level for a potential pullback is right there. See two beautiful bodies and a candle right off that level. You also see the 9-day moving average catching up. So I would say above that 185.75, you may actually be able to, and again, I don't know the climate in which this can happen. I've disassociated myself totally from Boeing and any fundamentals whatsoever. But that being said, if there's some type of catalyst that drives Boeing to the upside, I would put a PT at around 198. And I'll mark that out for you. That is where the 200-day moving average is, but it's also a major key level here and in line with where resistance and the point of control is. So you can see the point of control right here, 4 hour time frame, pretty much perfectly in line with that 200-day moving average and my key level. So um, interesting setup for sure. Um, yeah, I'm taking requests on YouTube right now if you guys are here with me on TikTok. So, all right. Yeah, I'm going down in chronological orders. What do you think about 420 day for weed stocks? I don't think it'll have a difference. Or maybe they go higher on 420 as a joke, but I don't really think that there's those might reflect in it may reflect in sales later on, but yeah, I don't really I've never seen a correlation. Um, Somebody asked me about XOM. Again, I'm not in this space as much. I do not trade oil. As far as technicals are concerned, it is a pro. It just filled a gap, so you can see there was a large gap right here that is 85.60 and 87.77. So that gap has been filled. It was filled pretty aggressively with decent volume. I think this one goes higher. I know that Top Shelf is bullish on this one. I'd say $89 is the next level to the upside. Looking at the hourly time frame, and that's probably what's most important here. Okay, well, that's not the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now that I look, so this is why multiple time frame analysis is so important. So I'll give it to you this way. And this is so we see that we have a dynamic pattern, right? Now we need to go with what is also most important, which is our key levels. We need to make sure that we mark these out. All right, so we got 87.27, and that's to the downside. So a pullback below 87.27, and I would imagine 86.72, and then you got a level at 86.18. Now, this trend line, if that gets broken, that this is a rising, or this is a rising wedge, right? So there is the potential that we pull back, and I want to make something clear here. Anytime you see a rising wedge like this, it does not 100% guarantee that that's the move that you're going to see. That doesn't mean that you're absolutely going to reverse to the downside. Now, this is pretty high like the probability behind this is relatively high. And getting I would say, some type of reversal, major catalyst in the oil market, from what we have already received, would likely be what would cause something like that to pull back. So while the technical pattern may speak a pullback, the fundamental part of it also could argue against that. So I would say just keep this level right here. I would mark it as 88.70. We'll call it 88.75. 88.75 on XOM and I'm going to set an alert right there, to the upside. I say you're more than likely going to get what's going to end up looking like a cup and handle, and likely a break higher, so above 90. It is high. It is possible to see that break to the upside, but if you start seeing it lose these levels, and find itself back at support, then you may be in trouble. So. What's going on with SPY? Why is it dumping hard? Because I signaled puts. I don't know, man. I'm with Rollman. I think that, and here's the thing: if you're new here, especially on TikTok, you'll hear us say this in the Discord. Bull market or bear market rallies are the best. We just had 11 straight green days on Apple, right? Which I think that they were just using Apple to pump the market. That's my personal. I mean, look at this. Absolutely madness, from Apple. Just straight green, 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 green day after day. Um, there you go. Um, Not necessarily. Um, but anyway, in a bear market, usually you're gonna see those rallies are gonna be. There's a purpose, right? They're supposed to look good, make you feel like it's the dip. But he posted a chart, of the third wave, and I think that, I mean, let's take a look at QQQ, right? So the hourly, the daily is not that bad. But if you take a look, and I'm not guaranteeing anything, guys. I'm not at all. But one thing that I see here, and it's kind of like wigging me out. So look at this little downtrend that you see right here, right? Look at that. Do you see how perfect that is? When I see stuff like that, it makes me feel like, okay, this is the second tap. That is obviously a resistance. Just from my experience, you get an EMA crossover to the downside, so everything just flipped to the downside. You've got the TT and rolling over. You've got like I said, everything moving to the downside, and it makes me feel like we're gonna go and hit support before it's all said and done, and likely even get one more small rally before, if we end up dumping or pulling back hard, that's where I think that it would happen. Because it doesn't, unless it's a legitimate catalyst, it never happens overnight. But yeah, I mean, we'll find out. I personally am under the impression, as of right now, that bear market is, in movement. So, and is the thing. Until I see otherwise, I'm pretty bearish and have been. So, but whenever you're bearish, you have to be ready to play those upside moves. So, thank you guys for hopping in the YouTube. I appreciate that. Here's what real quick, I see people ask me about Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm not a crypto guy, but if it is true that Russia is trying to make crypto a legal tender, I think that's not good short term. Yeah, I don't think that's good short term. And I think that there could, I don't know, it could be a new battleground. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get taken out. All right. SMG Scott. We'll look at that here in just a minute. All right, so PLTR is the next one. Now, this one actually looks just like our ETFs. Possible inverse head and shoulders. Watch 1180. 1180 on PLTR. If you do not see 1180, I see this trend here. Boom, boom. 1155. You lose 1155, you're in danger of heading back down to $10, um, somewhere in there. But it does have the potential for that inverse head and shoulders. So I think the best bet here is to gap down and wick off of support, and close your daily candle, back up at around 12. If that happens, then maybe PLTR gets a reversal, and a clearance to the upside. But otherwise, this thing is looking rough. One day, this is a Cinderella company, in my opinion. 10 years down the 10, 20 years down the line. So, if you guys have any questions, please don't spam the chat. Please just drop those, uh, requests in the YouTube channel. Yeah, I said bull flag, inverse head and shoulder on the daily. Okay, so you were saying that. So not so much on the bull flag, I would say. More of a pennant. Symmetrical chart. Yeah, so check that out. That's what I see. So again, below 1225, you've got 1291 and 1155. So, all right, Twitter. Now, I think Twitter moves. Honestly, I mean, you can listen to what I say right now, but I think that Twitter's likely going to be down around 4280, tomorrow morning. I'm banking on an immediate move to the upside. So depending on how drastic the gap is, if it's anywhere below 42, then there's a great potential that we just straight dump. $40.26, maybe even as low as 32.50, filling that gap completely. I do not see, as you guys can see, the poison pill strategy that's being administered right now, could be, like I said, it could make it the foreground for weak hands. And yeah, they definitely don't want Elon in there, from what I can tell. Happy Easter to you as well. AMD, SMG, Apple, Baidu, Nike. Yeah, I'll take any of those requests in the Discord. So, or excuse me, in the YouTube. I'm on my way down. No, please don't spam the chat, guys. If you guys, I'm making my way down as fast as I can on on these. ATER. Well, that's not good. Using a doji strategy. Now, I don't know what's going on here, so that's number one. I don't know what this situation is. I'm not sure. Sorry, I need a beer. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. I'm talking to my charts now. I'm losing it. Here's what I'm thinking. from what I can see here, looking at the candle close on the daily, I say you head back down there, maybe 475. This is my bullish projection. Then from there, you're likely going to see a retest, possibly the same level that you just had, 545, 550. If you can break that, then I would say you get another test of resistance like that, or you get some type of symmetrical triangle setup. Otherwise, anywhere below 480, I would say that this is possibly going to pull back pretty hard, likely hitting the 417 level, and maybe I would say maybe even $4 even. Daily time frame, like I said, is one thing that I like to do when I'm looking at the higher time frame is I want to see exactly where are my most bullish moving averages. And of course this is my preference, but I see a key level here on ATER. I see another one right there. Thank you. And that is in line with my 9 day moving average. So, like I was just saying, my most bullish moving average is lagging behind the price currently, right? So, the 9 day moving average is around 440, but as the price is currently trading around 550. So, I look at that, the candle that we see here. And what does this candle tell you, right? This candle right here tells you, oh, thank you. Oh, hey, what's up, Starboy? Yeah, my birthday. I never really, I don't do anything, but uh, yeah, it's the 18th. Bearish, definitely bearish. A big green, red dingus is what I want for my birthday. Um, anyway, when you see a candle like this, right? So using the doji strategy, right? You see 523, okay? I can tell you right now that's going to be a level right there. That's $5 even. So look at the body of the candles, both sitting at $5 even. So I would say below that 523, you obviously have $5. At that point, I would like to know and be aware of where exactly my 9 day moving average is at that point. And you can see go move down because I like to do the daily. When I'm looking at a stock, usually it's the daily 4 hour, 1 hour, and then I'll maybe look at the 15 or something like that. But in this case on ATR, $5 major bounce level. So when I'm giving these levels, I'm not saying they're going to break them. I'm telling you to watch the stock at those levels. So $5 and then anywhere below $5, I'm banking on 465. Now, again, I don't know why this stock is up. That's up to you to find out or, to dig into. And that's going to play into the sentiment. I can look it up really quick, I guess. Being lazy. Okay, so it's a short squeeze candidate, right? Okay, so it's a short squeeze candidate. Looks like we got April 22nd on Thursday, the last big move that I see here. And they're still tweeting about it right now. So ATER, AMC, BBIG, Game, and AVCT are right now some of the top Reddit short squeeze mentions as of right now. The mentions on Wall Street Bets right now are Game, Twitter, Tesla, Coin, AMC, PLTR, BABA, Netflix, and ATR. Um, but I don't see any specific news. So if this is truly Thursday, we saw $6 calls. It looks like it hit $6. So those could have been, a profit taken and no longer in play. So, but anyway, that's what I got for you on that. Any upside, I think, just happens above this 200-day moving average, which is 620.23. And if it's a true squeeze, be aware of obviously shares available, et cetera, stuff like that. Would you do call outs for Netflix earnings? I might take some earnings play trades this week. Um, I won't be trading too much outside. I'm still going to be busy, guys, but I will be. Um, am I going to do Starboy's 100% gainer challenge? Yeah, if he does my challenges. Yeah, tell Star if he's still in here, he's got to do one of my challenges. I'll do one of his. A lot of ifs and maybes going into tomorrow. There's a lot of ifs and maybes going into tomorrow. That is a 100% the truth. Bullish on Swedish House Mafia closing out Coachella late night tonight. Fire. I have no idea who that is, but it sounds badass. Yeah, if you guys, I am live on YouTube right now. I'm making my way downtown, walking fast, faces fast, and I'm homebound. Potter, do I trade right out of the gates or do I wait a certain amount of time? I seem to get faked out a lot in the mornings. Um, it depends on how I want to approach it. Big gaps, yeah. Sometimes I'll take starter positions at the bell, leg into them. Um, if it's a gap less than 2%, sometimes I'll slam the button and take a quick trade and just have a really good stop loss. But I think what's most important is also knowing where your pre-market and post-market levels are. That way you can mark those out, and those oftentimes will serve as the bounce. So if you move down first on a gap down, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to flush. You want to see how, because there's not a lot of data there for you to like interpret. So you have to go and look at the pre-market data, and you want to go look at those levels. If it responds well and bullishness, like you see that if you're whether you're watching the tape or you're waiting for that 5-minute candle to close or 1-minute candle to close, you can leg into something like that off of the bounce if the initial move is down. So it all depends, but for the most part, I'm going to be waiting a little bit. So if you're getting faked out, then obviously that's not working. So don't do that. That's about that. Whenever you're nice. Your birthday is the 19th. Um, yeah. Whenever you're trading or you're building a trading plan, if you keep doing the same thing and it's not working, that's why it's so important to write these things down. Um, Stop doing it. Right now. I would just, that would be my first advice because, at the end of the day, if you may be doing that thing wrong and it may not be the wrong thing to do, but only by stopping it, stop doing that one thing, can you look back or look at it, objectively and be like, oh, okay, that was a mistake, or ask questions or whatever the case may be. So, all right, the next one that we've got is CSX. Ugh. We got some ugly charts tonight, y'all. Why are they so ugly? Who's market making these? Fire 'em. All right. So that's what I see right there, right off the bat. So what that means to me, once I have a setup like this, and I'm like, okay, that definitely I see a nice trend right there, higher lows, good looking trend line right there, keeping it clean. And so whenever you see stuff like that, right, we're gonna call that seeing through the noise, because oftentimes it's not always perfect. But anyway, this is what I do from here. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a line or drop a key level mark. And the first mark is gonna be at $33. I usually like to turn these red in the future when I start doing more analysis videos. I'm gonna have a small guide that I'll copy and paste at the bottom. But if you just see one of my charts with lines on it, know that a red line usually means that it's short below that level always. And if you see a green line, it's usually always long above that level. And so that being said, right, there's a couple of levels here to watch. So, ooh, look at that. Right there. Beautiful. Okay, so you guys see the point of control right there, 3550, psychological number. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess we could say 11 taps of this one price going all the way back to October of 2021. All that being said, I think that there's a I would just play it like this, rather, regardless of what I think. If you reject 35 50, which it's looking not so good, then I say further downside. You also have earnings on April 20th. All right, so keep that in mind. This is got a good setup going into earnings. And if I was honestly being as close as we are to earnings, it would likely be more of a day trade candidate, or I would set up a straddle on something like this if I could interpret good movement on earnings. And from what I can tell here, so 31.50 gapping up to 32.80. Earnings here gapping up from 34.60 to 35. Um, Earnings there. So it looks like most of the movement on earnings for CXX happens months or weeks after earnings. Earnings here, nice rip. Earnings here's you actually get a slow bleed to the upside. So anyway, I would say above 35.50, the likelihood of upside increases. But then below that 33.90 and or excuse me, not 33.90. No, yeah, 33.90 and $33 level. CSX likely will fall. So everybody wants to know about Netflix earnings. Sounds like I should sell premiums. All right. FYI, if you guys know, there's not a ton of people here, but I will be doing a giveaway on my birthday. We'll be giving a good amount of stuff out. We got some pretty cool surprises. So, all right. So I've seen airlines, and I remember seeing flow for it. Um, because I remember we were playing. I forget. It might have been actually cruise liners. I think it was like CCL, but it looks like we rejected 1950. You can see right across the board, 1950 is a obviously a large level, that and $20. But heavy consolidation right there, nice supply zone. You reject the top of it on high volume. That being said, you have earnings. Looks like 421 on AAL. So, I'm not saying that I'm wasting my breath, but this analysis or whatever analysis that I give you right now is not going to matter much until we get earnings. Now, I would say that loosely, I could call this an inverse head and shoulders. This doesn't happen. Look at that daily. This doesn't happen with low volume, right? It happens with a lot of cash. So to lift this stock up from hitting that $12 level is indicative of strength, below us. So on a good earnings season, which I don't know their guidance from last quarter or whatever they were projecting, but that would be worth learn. That would be what I would be looking at if they had a really strong earnings last quarter. Then maybe not so or maybe not so good this time. If they had a really bad earnings last quarter, then maybe you see a better than expected move. So. Do I read the tape while I trade? If I'm scalping, yes, a lot of that. I hate trading stocks. No, it's not a guarantee that a stop loss will sell. All right. So Apple. All right. Now, this one was setting up pretty well and failed that setup. So we had resistance here. Um, and I thought that we may end up getting one more cycle up, gap fill, hit resistance. Not happening. This one ended up continuing to trend down, and this is gonna gap down. I would imagine we could see Apple down as low as 162.50 or 163 to the downside. That being said, if you gap down, I would imagine likely at least a point of control test 164.50. But man, that's rough. Now we talked about SPY with the potential inverse head and shoulders, so that's still in play. But the last time that we flipped red on the whole ribbon indicator for Apple, it wasn't great. We got some pretty significant downside. You'll also notice that the upside move on Apple was done on really low volume. It was consistent but low. The sell off has also been on relatively low volume, and we're approaching earnings season. That's likely why. So I would say sooner than later we're going to see a bounce. I would say 163. I mean, honestly, I'd rather give you this analysis tomorrow morning because I'm curious to see where we gap down. If it's around 163, 162.70, then I would be watching for a quick, brief leg down first, maybe even tapping 160 before then reversing, which could play into that inverse head and shoulders. But nice. Good job. What software? This is Trading View. What changes colors? All right. Microsoft is the next one. All right, so this one's on the watch list tomorrow, so I'll let you know if I trade it. It had a decent looking setup here, but of course it's likely going to gap down. I think Microsoft will see its way down to 275.50 or 276. There's a hard possibility that we could fall even lower. So you've got two levels here, right? Got one right here and one right here. And those are at 275.75 and 271.40. So those are two levels to watch for Microsoft to the downside. And I would assume that we will bounce at those levels more than likely. Going back, actually, take a look right here. Again, beautiful bounce level. 1, 2, and 3, and then you've got 1, 2. So hopefully we'll get a good bounce on Microsoft and be able to play those gaps to the upside as well. So um, I'm going back up. I just jumped down. Um, Apple, Nvidia. All right, so this one's like AMD. It has the exact same setup. Rounded top was where that when we talked about that last time, but Nvidia fell out of the sky. It is at support, so this is when things happen, right? You're at support, so you either bounce or you break, and that is what I would be watching for from Nvidia. Now I'm not exactly sure, but I would venture to guess that Nvidia has created a channel to trade in, and that is what I would reckon is the channel is trading in currently. Hold on one second. Beautiful. Yeah, so definitely within a standard deviation channel here, look at the deviation right there. Do you see how beautiful and respected that channel is? You've got multiple retests on that channel. You've got an EMA crossover to the downside. You still have further room on the RSI. You've got to break below 206 and 205 in order to see further downside, which I would speculate could be as low as the 185 mark, short. So the thing that we don't do at support is we don't short support until we see a definitive break. You either were short before or you're not short at all. So from here, because we're at support, we're also going to be watching levels above us like 226.40 for potential gap fill and reversal to the upside for NVIDIA. So we did the giveaway on Friday. But I'm not going to be live on. I will be live a couple of days out of this week, but for those of you guys in the Discord, I'll be on as per usual, except for um, a couple of days. But I'll be on and off. But for the TikTok and YouTube, next week is when I will be full speed. I think hopefully. I don't know. Dealing with a lot of what ifs. Yo, just curious, why don't you use more of bars with the volume profile indicator on the right? What do you mean? So the reason that I zoom in and out is because I want to see what a certain time frame's trading price action where the volume is at. So it could be an event, it could be earnings, and I could look at it. Yeah, and see where that point of control is over the last two earnings, right? The last two earnings, 246 has been the point of control for NVIDIA, which is important information for me. So, yeah, so if you're watching, I have a couple, we did a cool little thing. Might as well do it here, but usually we have a 5-day trial. We've got a 2-week trial right now due to the bumpiness, but we also just did a giveaway, and there's a few spots left. So if anybody wants to do that, you can still cancel. You don't have to join, you don't have to pay, but you do have to put your debit card in, and then you can immediately cancel it right after, and then still hang out with us for 2 weeks. If you don't want to miss out. So that is entirely up to you. Just go to our website, simplestacksinvesting.com. All right, so anyway, that's NVIDIA. This one should be interesting. If you open up below it, watch for a retest of it and then a rejection if you're going to continue to the downside. All right, the next one that we get. Did I do? Yeah, I did. All right, so will I do Netflix earnings callouts? No. Yes, probably. Maybe. Probably. Yes. Okay. So this is actually kind of cool. I don't know that I had this charted, but I see immediately what I was thinking about. Besides the inverse head and shoulders, which obviously did not play out. But I see a now I'm not exactly sure when earnings are. I know they're this week, but I say 310. 310 for Netflix. Yo, when this hits support, I'm going long. I'm going long on Netflix. Straight up. If it goes any lower, which tomorrow I think 330 will be the level that you'll fight with the most. Can I explain QQQ again? Yeah, so just tech. Like it basically they invest in a ton of tech companies, and so by investing in them, you're investing in tech as a whole. All the best tech, right? Not just any tech, but the best tech performing tech in the market. So that's what the QQQ is. So the top 100 tech companies are all compiled, and Gains Gurus is also right. It is Wade. It's also different variations of it. Um, all right. So I'm gonna go to the hourly really quickly. Sorry, I'm saying so many times tonight. We're gonna go ahead and set alerts 333. Set alert at 329.85. And we're gonna set alert at 352.63. I like this setup and I want to keep an eye on it. So all right, next one that we've got is Facebook. And you know what? I'm surprised I didn't have it on my watch list. Yeah, I'm really surprised I didn't have it on my watch list. But it still holds the cup and handle, damn it. So check this out. This has a, sorry, really long channel to it. So let me elaborate on that. So normally with a rising wedge, like, you know, it'll extend itself sometimes, you know, frustrating traders. But this is crazy. So if now this is going to be big. If Facebook is around 208.26 tomorrow, I say reversal, and I would watch it to push and break above 213.75 for the 216.35 and then 218 level above it. That being said, below 208 and 207.50, which I'm gonna go off on a limb and say that if it's following the cues, it's likely gonna have fallen further than that. I would say that Facebook is on its way. Let me go look at the four because it has what could be a cup and handle here, but sometimes that cup and handle will, without telling you, turn into a rounded top and get smoked. And another thing, right? So, man, and this is why levels, guys, are so important. So look at where we're at, right? Where you see a rejection or you see consolidation on a breakout, that's a level. That's 210. That is where we are at. Right below that, the bottom. So usually you have at the top of resistance and support, or you have the top of a demand zone, or and the bottom of the demand zone. The bottom of that one is at 206.81 for Facebook. So if you drop below 206.81, that's where I would speculate further downside, looking at levels like 202, 200, and maybe even 198.85. And that's of course if we're bearish. But again, you know, we'll see how this plays out because right now it has a cup and handle. I'd love to see Facebook break out. I'd love to play it up or down. To be honest with you, I could care less. I just want sweet baby rays. Good God, where did everybody just come from? Jesus Christ! I look back. There's 245 people in here. What's up, guys? We're taking some requests here. Looking at Facebook right now with a potential cup and handle and what looks to be a large wedge. But we are going to gap down, and we'll see where that's at tomorrow morning. Again, tonight when you're doing the work at night, don't be super hard on yourself. The market's not open. I don't care what anybody says, okay? I've seen other people, and my opinions on certain content creators has changed periodically, but there's certain content creators whom I disagree with respectfully about timing. And of course, a lot of people, well, some people say that, you know, do the work at night, and then you don't have to do the work in the morning. I don't want to do that. I want to do the work at night, and then I want to do the work in the morning as well, because that's unfortunately what this takes. Not unfortunately. It's good to wake up early. That may just be me, even though I struggle with it sometimes. But waking up early, you look at pre-market action, you listen to the news. The most important thing that I can do for myself is I have the Squawk Box. I just reminded myself to turn it on. And so I wake up to the sound of that, and it sounds like a nightmare, but Charlie or the other guy reading out news. So the first thing that I'm hearing, is like news that's coming in, and that news is going to help me feel out the market. If you want to look at the market, it's almost like a living, breathing thing. It does have a feel to it, right? That overall, like, man, the market feels like it's like something. Some people will even say, I feel like something's going to happen, because it's just trade like that type of thing. Yeah, I have a squawk box. Have I failed you yet, sir? What'd you do? I'm feeling rigged. Analysis on Wish and Re. Oh, you meant the analysis. You didn't really understand on QQQ. All right, yeah, give me a second. I'm going down the list on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube right now, so. I do not play OTC stocks. No, you can get halted for a whole month. All right, so GLW is the next one. It's Corning Incorporated. They actually work with Apple. If you guys are not familiar with them, immediately my eyes are drawn to this trend line here, in line with EMAs, and this trend line right here. And this creates a potential falling wedge on the daily time frame. Again, another falling wedge example. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure that our key levels break. And we got a key level there. If you're new and you're having trouble identifying key levels, use those pivot points, right? Pretty close, yeah? I would say my level's right. See, I like 35, 33 for Corning. But if you're looking at it from the upside, or to the upside, 34.40. 34.40, and I imagine that it might be worth speculatively legging into a position. But this is usually a high probability reversal pattern, good for a 50% reversal, bringing you back up to 37.65. Nope, I don't like that. Okay. Well, I'll leave it at that for now. But that's kind of what I would speculate there. So, watch 35 bucks basically. Yeah, Corning work makes glass. All right. Tesla. So, damn, I was on the money about that. So I had speculated, and I'm gonna continue speculating. But I do believe that we're going to see 933.85, which is going to be huge. 940, huge. Anywhere below that, we'll talk shop. But I would say basically 900 bucks is what Tesla's looking at. And I talked about these three rejections off of resistance. It is, in my opinion, we're at the pivot point on Tesla, so we're good for a potential retest, maybe even touching $1,000 before it's all said and done. But, excuse me, hold on. Oh my God, I think I lost my lung. Um, so let me. So I'll say 948.72 is likely the level that you'll see Tesla. Could even be the level that we gap up on. If we gap down to, excuse me, But this could be this with all the controversy going on with Elon Musk. I don't know if this is really good for Tesla. So thank you. All right, all right. G. So rig. Ooh, very nice. All right, well, you got a little rigaroni there. Jeez Louise. Heavily consolidated. Definitely looking pretty bullish here on the weekly. Yeah, I would say watch it 481 to the upside and 412 to the downside would be what I'd be watching for rig. So, all right, guys, it is 9:47. I didn't realize it was that late. I got a busy day tomorrow. Y'all got busy days tomorrow. Um, let's get up early. Let's start our day fresh. Start the week fresh. Um, make sure that we have a plan tomorrow. If you don't have a plan, don't trade until you do. That means entries, exits, stop losses, um, and being able to adhere to those things. So, but anyway, if I missed your request, make sure to write it down, save it for tomorrow. I apologize. I do not speak Japanese, but give me maybe a couple more years, and I'll catch up with you. Or you can DM me in Discord and teach me, and we'll figure out a trade. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn as many. If you know a language, and you teach me it, okay? Que es le primero que bus? Ah, don't make me say things. Wait, I don't know. Hold on. You know I have Google. I have Google Translate, buddy. Oh, now you guys are hitting me with a bunch of. I don't know what it means. Oh, it means want. Never mind. Oh, do I want to be your friend? Is that what that means? I have no idea. Um, I actually grew up for about 2 or 3 years of my life in a Mexican household. So in El Paso, Texas, I was eating habanero salsa at like 7. All right, we'll do Lulu because Walter, it was the last one, and I skipped over it, but we'll do Lulu. I feel bad. Make sure everybody get one. All right. I think what is yeah. See, AO right. So I want to say cup and handle type energy here for sure. You hit 397.60. Um, you even broke your downtrend, which I would say you did relatively cleanly. Um, that being said, you're already consolidating really, really heavily. So here's the thing, when I see heavy consolidation like I see here, that also becomes a level of like basically, all right, if we break back into it, then we're likely going to hit the middle of it, which is 375. If we break below the middle of it, we're likely going to hit the bottom of it, and that's 363. And then at that point, I would be more bearish than bullish. So hold 386 and bounce off of it, and I would say 410 is in your future for Lulu. So, but should I hold my Tesla 429 calls through past earnings? Uh, I'm not sure when you got in, but talk to me. We'll talk about that tomorrow. If you guys want to recap, I went over a metric ass ton of stocks tonight. You guys can go watch the YouTube live. The link is in the bio. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, as no later than 8:30 Eastern time, and then as early as 7:30 Eastern time. So, or even 7 o'clock. So if you guys are in the Discord, I'll tag you guys. Otherwise, you guys have a wonderful evening. Nick. But yeah, you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.